Okay, picking up where we left off, all right, so the angles here, the angles 0 minus a fourth, or divided by a fourth, divided by 4 minus that would be that. Then I want to go to pi over 2, which would be a half divided by 4, okay, minus a fourth, is negative 1/8. Okay, then I would go to pi, so 1 divided by 4 minus a fourth would be 0. Okay, and then the last one would be 3 pi over 2 divided by 4 minus a fourth. Pi over 8. The values associated with that, since it's sine, okay, would be 0. Okay, and what I'm going to do with the values, all right, is all I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2. Okay, so 0 minus 2, first value would be negative 2, then 1 minus 2 would be negative 1. Okay, then be 0, 1, 0, negative 2, and then negative 1 minus 2 would be negative 3. Okay, so that's going to be the values associated with it. Okay, so what I have is I got pi over 2, I got pi, all right, I got 3 pi over 2, I got 2 pi, all right, and I got negative pi over 2 because I got some negative angles in here, okay, all right, and negative pi, all right. Now, in red would be my quarters. In red would be the quarters. All right, so that's 1, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, negative 1, negative 3. Okay, all right. The 8s are going to be in between that. All right, so it would be like, this pen's very frustrating. All right, okay, so this would be like 1/8, 3/8, negative 1/8, negative 3/8. So at negative 1/4 pi, which would be here, I'm going to graph negative 2. At negative 1/8, I'm going to graph negative 1. At 0, I'm going to graph negative 2. At 1/8, I'd graph negative 3. And then coming back to 1/4, I would graph negative 2. So the graph looks like this. Okay? All right. Move on. All right, so on this one, what I would do with the angles is I'm going to divide, I'm just going to subtract by 5 pi over 4. Okay, so my amplitude here will be 2. My period will be 2 pi over 1, which will be 2 pi. My phase shift will be negative 5 pi over 4. My vertical shift will be 1. Okay, what I'm going to do with all my angles, I'm going to subtract by that. Okay, so 0 minus 5/4. All right, is negative 5/4 pi. Okay, 2 minus 5/4 is going to be 3/4 pi. Then I would do a half minus 5/4 is negative 3/4 pi. And I'm going to do 1 minus 5/4 is negative 1/4 pi. And then 3/2 minus 5/4. So it's going to be 1/4 pi. Okay, my values, okay, okay, my values okay, so what I'm going to do with my values is I'm going to times them by 2, times them by negative 2, and then I'm going to add 1, okay? So I've got for cosine would be 1 times negative 2 plus 1, and then for 0 it would be 0 times negative 2 plus 1. Okay, so that's going to be negative 1 and then 1. Then I would do negative 1 times times negative 2 plus 1 is 3. And then back with 0, 0 times negative 2 plus 1. Okay, all right. So when I go to make a graph, all right, I got pi over 2, I got pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, and this way would be negative pi over 2, negative pi. Okay, these are my quarters. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to graph is negative 5 pi over 4. I'm actually going to have to make another quarter, hold on. Okay, so that would be negative 5 pi over 4, I'm going to graph negative 1, which would be here. Then at negative 3/4 pi, which would be this one, I'm going to graph 1. At negative pi over 4, I'm going to graph 3. At pi over 4, I'm going to graph 1. And then 3/4 pi, I'm going to graph negative 1. This is what the graph looks like. Okay?
Ms. Stewart, please contact 3895.
What I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to divide by 4. So what's going to happen is that's going to be 2 sine of 4x minus 3/4 pi, okay, plus 3. Okay, so you have to divide each part by 4. All right, so my amplitude will be 2. My period will be 2 pi divided by 4, which will be pi over 2. My phase shift is 3/4 pi. Okay, my vertical shift will be 3. Okay, so for my angles, all right, what I'm going to do is I am going to divide by 4 and then add 3/4. Okay, so I'll try to get to that quick. 0, okay, divided by 2, all right, plus 3/4. So it'll be 3/4. 2 divided by, 2 divided by 4 plus 3/4. Okay, so I got 3/4 and 5/4 pi. Okay, 3/4 pi. All right, 5/4 pi. Okay, then I go 1/2. Let's see. Okay, so, sorry where I was at, 1/2. Divided by 4. All right. All right, plus 3/4. That's going to be 7/8 pi. Okay, then I'm going to go 1 divided by 4 plus 3/4. It's going to be 1 pi. And then I'm going to go 3/2. Divided by 4 plus 3/4. It's going to be 9/8 pi. Okay, so my values, all right, I'm going to, with my values, all right, just to speed this along, all right, I'm going to times 2, all right, and then I'm going to add 3. All right, in the interest of time, we're doing sign. 0 times 2 is 0, plus 3 would be 3 for that one. For the second one would be 2 times 1, which would be 2, plus 3 would be 5. All right, 0 times 2 plus 3 would be 3. And then that would be -2 plus 3, which would be 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do to graph that, all right, I got okay, I got pi over 2, I got pi, I got 3 pi over 2, and I got 2 pi. Okay, okay, since you got some 8s in here, what you want to look at is these would be the quarters. So that'd be 1, 3, 5, and 7 in red. In black, that'd be 1/8, 3/8, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay? So my points that I'm going to end up graphing, I'm graphing purple. At 3/4, I'm going to graph 3. So 3/4 in red, 1, 2, 3. All right, then 7/8, I want to graph 5. At 1 pi, I'm going to graph 3. At 9/8, I'm going to graph 1. And back at 5/4 pi, I'm going to graph 3. So this is what the graph looks like.